Hey guys, my name is Rudy, and this is a quick video for my friends up at the Arcade 1UP group on Facebook. I'm going to show you kind of my cabinet over here, what I've done. I want to answer any questions. I know there's a lot of people getting into this since there's the $50 specials at Walmart. So if you want to do modding, let me know. I'm by no means perfect. I'm also the guy that has been all the jokes about all the buttons and different things. Here it is. If you guys have any questions, let me know. So, this started out as a cabinet similar to this. The Arcade 1UPs. These are, I believe it's a quarter size cabinets that come out from 1UP arcades, capturing kind of the young days when we were at the bowling alleys and stuff playing all our favorite games. So, this cabinet, the Rampage one, will be modified at a later time. But the one I want to talk about is actually the Asteroids cabinet that I put together here. Sorry for all the mess on the background, but I really don't want to take this thing apart again. So, this is my design. What I did is I actually added the two extensions out here, one on each side. And I kind of drew out what I wanted. I wanted this thing to be the perfect arcade. This is really an extreme version of this thing. I wanted to cover virtually everything that you can think of playing and be able to play with two players. So kind of going over this, here are the power and the reset buttons. This is for the trackball. This is a regular trackball with USB. I got button 1 here, button 2, and button 3 here as well. Now then, the spinner thing I was never really a part of. That was a little bit before my time. Space Invaders and whatnot, but I played and I enjoyed it. But I do have like pole position, and you can use that for this as well. So these are spinners. These are from the Glenn's Retro show. They're pretty awesome. They work by light. They're much easier to operate than the other ones. You can see how they spin pretty freely. And you got button 1, 2, and 3 over here. And what I did on that one also is this is shared, so if you're left-handed or right-handed, you can actually operate button 1, 2, and 3 for the spinner as well. And for the trackball, you can actually operate it off of this as button 1, and this as the other side over here. So we'll go through this real quick. These up here are turbo switches. Turbo, rapid fire. This one here is set to the digital and analog version, and this clears it. Sorry, this one actually clears it. This is auto fire. Here's my player 1 and coin. You can use that. I'll show you that wired in here. And my joysticks, actually, if you look at the way it's wired, I have it wired if you're both left-handed or right-handed. And so this is a little bit of an overkill. I definitely have to agree. But I got all the buttons here color-coded. So player 1, these are the buttons for them. And player number 2, these are their buttons here on this side. Again, coin in that. And then your 4 switches that are actually on the card. And back here again, power, reset, same thing. 1, 2, and 3 for the trackball on this side. And for the spinner, 1, 2, and 3. And that's kind of the top part of this thing. Underneath here, I went ahead and I popped this thing out so you can see it because it's kind of a pain to get it off there again. But down here, this is the original mod, and what I did is I added the lighted up push buttons to simulate the drop in the coin. And up here, if we lift the screen, lift the top here, this is, again, like I said, very, very extreme. What I did, here's the wiring. The key thing that I learned about this stuff is make sure that you label everything. There's where the wall meets over here, so I wanted to make sure that there was no wiring or very little wiring going through it so that I don't crush the wires. Back here, these are the simple switches. I went ahead and I soldered them through. This is another controller. This is a debate. So if you buy the Glenn's Retro Show spinner, which is over here, you need to buy the 12-in-1 card, which is over here. I made sure that this card didn't touch any of the circuits so it doesn't short out, but it's kind of stuck together. The cable goes from the Glenn's Retro Show over to the card. The card goes into a USB, and the USB goes into the computer. This one's run with a Linux operating system, which is running RetroPie in the background. This gives you a graphical interface, and you can definitely put a lot more games on here. I went ahead and I really liked the 1UP speakers. I thought they were good, so I went ahead and bought another one to make it a stereo system. And So the way this thing is wired, all the wires from these switches are going into, they're kind of hard to see back here, the two cards. These are the expansion to USB interface cards right back here. There's two of them side by side. And since the 12-in-1, like I said, didn't have any buttons, I'm not sure how that's done with their stuff. The joystick, the trackball has a USB, it goes directly into it. And the buttons that I want to use for the spinner itself are on this this card here. Okay. Down here below it's still a little messy. This is the board. So what I went ahead and did, you can see on the side here, I tried to put a low-key set of 3 bolts, and I built a shelf. So if you look down here, this thing is actually sitting a little bit higher than the original. There's a little board down here, and this thing's actually designed to slide back and forth so I can actually move stuff in and out of here. These are the bolts going straight through, so these are 2x4s with a little gap between them. So here's how it's set up. This is the floor. Here is just a filler board here to make it a little spacer. Underneath here is the first set. Down here I have the 2 hard drives, and I also put in the power supply. Like I said, I apologize for the mess in advance. I will zip tie this and make this look a lot prettier. What you'll need if you're going to use the original 1-up monitor, here is where the original computer sat. And what I did is I got the little card here. I connected the card down here. You got your options of HDMI, DVI, or VGA. I'm running the VGA. The controller for that monitor, which you really won't be using once everything's set up, is right here. And I mounted this thing off to a board because I was afraid this thing is metal and I really don't want to short out any electronic components. Back here is the amplifier, and that's how that works on this side. I set it to a decent volume and I left it at that. Down here I went ahead and I zip tied the board, you can't see it, to the piece of wood here, so I can take this stuff in and out of here. Here is the power strip. And like I said, I plan to make this a lot prettier as I go because this looks terrible. But anyway, like I said, so if you want to build this like I did, you want to do a spacer, the little piece of plywood here, then you can do 1 or 2. This gave it plenty of room to clear the power supply, so the 2 2x4s screwed in. Another piece of plywood. Now this one actually slides back and forth, so you can do upgrades and removables, anything I want to do with this in the future, including make this into a full-blown pie. Just want to give it one quick zoom over here. I'll have to show you after picture because, like I said, this is it's got wires everywhere. The one thing I had to be really careful on is not to drop anything down here. When you have an open motherboard like that, it really invites loose screws, loose nuts, and things like that to go through. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little piece how I did my cabinet. I'm here to help, so if you guys need some assistance on how to build something as extreme or a lot less extreme, please let me know.